Welcome to this, the second handing over ceremony for the Mocha Housing Resettlement Scheme. Today, 16 houses constructed by the Pinnacle Trust, with whom the government established a partnership in 2011, will be officially handed over to residents of Fort-Saint-Jacques-Soufrière, impacted by Hurricane Thomas in 2010. In keeping with the said program, I now call on Mr. John Calix, Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Department of Planning and National Development, to make a few remarks on behalf of the Permanent Secretary. Mr. Calix.
On behalf of the Permanent Secretary, I am pleased once again to be here and to have this opportunity to address the beneficiaries, supporters, stakeholders, executors, and especially the financiers associated with the post-Hurricane Thomas project at Mocha in Fort-Saint-Jacques-Soufrière. In 2011, this project was conceived within the framework of a broader reconstruction program in the aftermath of Hurricane Thomas. The initiative has been led on the government side by the National Reconstruction and Development Unit in partnership with the Pinnacle Trust, who provided in excess of $1 million, which is approximately 2.7 million EC dollars, to the Hurricane Thomas reconstruction effort. This is worthy of note, as the early reconstruction period coincided with the tsunami in Japan and other disasters, including the earthquake in Haiti, which placed large demands on traditional donors for providing financial assistance for relief efforts in the disaster-hit areas. We are therefore indeed thankful to Mr. James Vanham of the Pinnacle Trust for agreeing to support a housing proposal to assist the people of Fort-Saint-Jacques, and we are extremely delighted at the completion of phase 1 of the project. We would like to commend the National Reconstruction and Development Unit and trustee Mr. Anthony Bristol for the collaboration that took place on the genesis, design, and execution of the project. This type of cooperation typifies the level of innovation required when there are many in need but few resources to serve everybody. More specifically in this case, to do so in accordance with the development and construction standards required to ensure that houses and infrastructure constructed are resilient enough to withstand hurricanes like Hurricane Thomas and other events such as the trough of December 24, 2013. The project adopted a holistic approach to addressing the housing needs of the residents of Fort-Saint-Jacques that were most severely affected by the passage of Hurricane Thomas, an approach that embraced both the physical and social aspects of the situation facing the affected local population. Through a process of community engagement that involved an in-depth socioeconomic assessment of the affected households, appropriately priced housing packages were designed in collaboration with the Fort-Saint-Jacques Credit Union so as to provide residents with the access to improved accommodation through concessional loan financing. One important requirement for the construction of houses is that of insurance. In this regard, and not surprisingly, one of the requirements for loan financing from the credit union was that of insurance for the houses. To address this critical issue, the National Reconstruction Development Unit secured affordable micro-home insurance through Insurance Services Brokers Limited, another key partner in this resettlement process. Housing insurance is an enormous development issue, especially for small homeowners. This fact is brought to the fore after almost every weather event in St. Lucia. Every property is affected. So to insurance service brokers, we'd like to say a sincere thank you for your support and participation in the project. While this financing is being provided at a local level, the Department of Planning and National Development is keen to see this arrangement succeed. We believe that this project would serve as encouragement or as a catalyst to the credit union to become even more involved in economic and social development projects in the community. Therefore, it is important to emphasize that the concessional loans that are to be provided by the credit union, inclusive of your house insurance, must be repaid in full and in a timely manner by you, the beneficiaries. Through the timely repayment of your loan, other people will be afforded the opportunity to utilize the resources from the credit union for investment purposes. Further, as you homeowners, you would benefit from this financing by being able to utilize this investment as security for loans for education or for home expansion to cater to the natural growth in the sizes of your households. We trust that the entire community can take pride in this project and work with the beneficiaries to help integrate this resettlement area into the wider community. We ask in particular that everyone preserves the peace and the amenity of the community for responsible living and by having regard for the neighbor and the laws of St. Lucia. The project in its various phases during construction involved several players. In this regard, we would like to commend the efforts of all the contractors, workmen, community facilitators, WASCO, LUCILEC, the Ministry of Infrastructure, Port Services and Transport, and the Suffolk Regional Development Foundation for their responsiveness and their cooperation with the National Reconstruction and Development Unit in making the project the success that it is. On behalf of the Permanent Secretary once again, I would like to congratulate the Pinnacle Trust and the NRDU along with Mr. Norman Sanville, the engineer on the project, for a job well done. The Ministry looks forward to assisting the remaining residents in phase 2 of the project with funding support from the European Union. This phase of the project will commence shortly, and we implore you to be patient with the contractors during the construction period. Thank you, everybody.
It is with great pride that I stand here today to address this gathering for the formal handover of the Mocha housing development. My sense of pride comes from the efforts of the people involved in making this project a reality, efforts that spanned the past 4 years, efforts that required wide-range, diverse skills, efforts that were based on identifying and assessing the needs of the people of the area who were affected, and efforts of prime ministers, government ministers, civil servants, professionals, and our skilled contractors and builders who have come together to create this most impressive development. Most significant, though, is the pride shown by the persons who live in these 27 houses, which now comprise the Mocha housing development. While I do intend to be brief, I think it necessary to inform the gathering of the genesis of this project. In early 2010, after the Haiti earthquake, a gentleman who I had known for many years in the international financial services sector approached me and my wife Tricia and asked for our help to implement a charitable project in Haiti. He explained to us that one of the trusts of which he's a trustee had funds for such relief projects and sought help in finding a way to develop and implement a relief project there. We did start work on this venture, but progress was slow as there were many challenges in doing business in Haiti. In October of 2010, St. Lucia was devastated by Hurricane Thomas, with the brunt of devastation and loss of life being in the Soufrière area. In January 2011, I was contacted by the same gentleman who said, "We can help St. Lucia. Let's find a project that I can get the trust to fund, and let's get it going." In February of 2011, we approached the government of St. Lucia, and after much discussion and planning, the land for the project was identified and a site development plan presented. An MOU was executed in August 2011, and shortly thereafter, trust funds in the amount of $1.05 million were transferred to St. Lucia. The government's role under the MOU was to provide the land and the engineering and architectural designs, procure approvals and subdivisions, while the trust was tasked to fund the project, identify and hire a project manager, and build the houses and infrastructure. Infrastructure work started in September 2011. The government elected to build 11 relief houses which it funded and which were delivered in May of 2012. The 16 trust houses were built between July 2012 and July 2013, when the 16th house was delivered. The total spend by the trust to date was $2 million in house construction and $1.2 million in infrastructure works. The infrastructure was done by a range of contractors: IDC, Aubrey Johnny, El Caribbean, and Lucelec. The houses, however, were built by two of our very own people from the area, Anthony Eugene and Matthew Nelson, who did outstanding work in delivering a high quality of work in the time and on budget. A sincere thank you to all of you. There were, however, many other persons whose efforts were critical to the success of this project. WASCO on more than one occasion assisted with technical advice, procurement guidance, and demonstrated a commitment to help that showed a true sense of ownership and community spiritedness towards this project. Particular mention must be made of Anthony Reese, Justin Seeley, and Francis Isidore, all of WASCO. Your efforts and guidance were priceless. The funding agreement, as the Prime Minister and others in government know, require that there are audits and checks on the funds. And to that end, the trust documents had to be reviewed by an auditor. Mr. Richard Peterkin of Grand Thornton agreed without hesitation or reward to assist and support the project. Such extraordinary support was also homegrown, as Mr. Leighton Lamentine, when asked for a good rate for our overseas technical team, quite generously and graciously provided them with room and board, and only when an invoice was sought did he kindly inform me that this was his contribution to what he felt was a worthy cause. To both of you, thank you. However, the project was a result of a partnership between the government and the trust, and this success is a result of the commitment and hard work of both parties. Like any partnership, there were different points of view and different considerations. However, both sides were committed to the project and the people, and we've been able to work together to make this development a reality. Special thanks must be given to Mrs. Elizabeth Suma, Mrs. Delia Nicholas, and the team of the NRDU, as well as their technical advisor, Mr. Normal Sinville. Thank you. However, there are others whose impact was critical. The Soufrière Foundation, the Fonds Saint-Jacques Credit Union, and the people of the area who worked on the site, all of who deserve our appreciation and gratitude. For the trust, our key appointment and point person was the project manager, Tricia. She was the go-between the trust and the NRDU, the house contractors and the suppliers, the subcontractors and the consultants and departments, the trustee and the auditor, the homeowners and the contractors, homeowners and the NRDU. In short, she worked with everyone at all levels and all stages of the project. My job as trustee was made easy as I knew that the project was being well run and that there was accountability and performance at all levels. Thank you. Your efforts were invaluable. I'd like to thank our Prime Minister for his ongoing support and also for the former Prime Minister for his confidence in this project. I'd also like to thank the District Representative, Mr. Dalso, for his support. Government support was had at all levels and at all times. Thank you all sincerely for that. The final part of the trust gift is presently under construction. When completed, it will serve as a community center, /IT center, and a hurricane disaster shelter. This is underway and is an exit project designed to exhaust the trust funds for the benefit of the community. It is expected to be completed by the end of August, and we are, as usual, working to that deadline. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman who made this all possible is a gentleman by the name of James Wadham, whom I have known for over 15 years now. James has had a long history with St. Lucia, being involved and a pioneer in the international financial services sector. James Wadham has also been critical in adding value to all of us, as he's been a director of Bank of St. Lucia International, and he has been critical and pivotal in making that institution a financial and performance success. James has asked me to extend his heartfelt apologies for his absence today, and importantly, his gratitude to each and every one of you. He recently suffered a great personal tragedy and is unable to be with us. He was the catalyst and the originator of this idea, and importantly, of the model that allowed it to produce the results it has. He has a very special place in his heart for our island and our people, and he has demonstrated in a manner that is truly benevolent. Thank you sincerely, James. This project proves that public-private sector partnerships can and do work. It is my hope, and also that of James, that this project will be a model for others, and that there will be a focus on finding ways to replicate this model, not only in housing, but in other ventures. Finally, residents of Mocha, it is my wish that you all continue to take pride in the homes that you have and the community that you share. It has been a long and very interesting undertaking to be the trustee of this project. However, the genuine appreciation that you have shown has made it very, very rewarding. Ultimately, this is what the trust was established for, to make a positive impact on the lives of the people of Soufrière. On behalf of James Wadham, myself and Tricia, thank you and sincere best wishes for the future. Thank you.
Today we are here to witness the handover of 16 remaining new houses to the residents of Fonds Saint-Jacques who lost their homes during the passage of Hurricane Thomas in October of 2010. The project is a joint venture, as you have heard, between the government of St. Lucia and the Pinnacle Trust Fund, and was implemented through the National Reconstruction and Development Unit of the Department of Planning and National Development. In 2012, 11 homes constructed by the government of St. Lucia were handed over, and the remaining 16, and all supporting infrastructure, are now being handed over to those persons who qualified for them. The project adopted a holistic approach, and the National Research Development Unit worked closely with the Fonseca Credit Union to provide affordable loans to residents, and the Fonseca Development Committee to better understand the needs of the community. Other contributors to the project include the ARDA, the ADRA, which is the Adventist Disaster Relief Agency, which is an international organization, the St. Lucia Red Cross, the Suffolk Regional Development Foundation. The entire development houses close to 62 people from 27 households. The joint construction of the development over the project period created at least 150 jobs. The handover of the 16 masonry houses, there is a difference between what we're doing today and what was done here a couple of months ago. As you can see, there are two types of dwelling houses, some in plywood and the others are of masonry type. And what we are handing over are those of the masonry type. The project beneficiaries were selected on the basis of needs and ability to pay. It must be emphasized that the houses are not free, and all are required to meet the payment obligations to the credit union and the other financial institutions they may have engaged. I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Pinnacle Trust Fund and its contributors for the humanitarian donation towards rebuilding a community, and not just a collection of houses. As you can see, it is not just some houses just put together. Mocha has become a community by itself, and we want to thank the Trust for that assistance. And we urge the residents of the area to cherish the area, beautify the area, maintain the natural integrity of the area, and maintain a social atmosphere that is peaceful and that will work towards the upliftment of the community. I would like to thank the program manager of the National Reconstruction Development Unit, Mrs. Suma. You will always be thanked, because you helped in shaping, developing, and executing the project along with the Pinnacle Trust. We would also like to thank the engineer, Mr. Norman Saintville, who provided engineering services in designing and supervision. And I want to note also that the National Reconstruction and Development Unit was the agency and the department that helped in the completion and also the handing over ceremonies. One was done earlier and one is being done today. So we want to thank you very much. We also want to thank you for the manner in which you embraced the community and the stakeholders, and the manner in which you went about doing your consultation with all community groups and all sectors who would be affected by this development. I would also like to thank the various contractors who delivered the various works under the project, and very importantly, the project manager, Mrs. Tricia Bristol, on behalf of the Pinnacle Trust Fund. I would like also to thank Mrs. Delia Didier Nicholas on behalf of the government of St. Lucia for a job well done. I make this particular mention as these two women embraced a challenge of a pristine site covered with natural vegetation and a few tree crops, and transformed it to the human settlement that we now see here today. I was told that there is another phase of the project that will be taking place very soon, Mrs. Soma. I look forward for this other phase to take place. I'm very happy and very delighted to hear Mr. Bristol say that they're going to be building a community center and an access center right here in this community. So the people of Mocha, you are very fortunate, and out of a disaster, you are coming out with all possibilities if you explore them in a very positive way. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, 21 months ago, I was here at Mocha to mark the handing over of 11 homes to the people of Fort Saint-Jacques, whose homes were destroyed by Hurricane Thomas. Thomas occurred nearly 3.5 years ago, and I know for those persons who are to formally receive their homes today, the wait has seemed inordinately long. At last, for you, it's over. Today is a day of immense pride, of immense joy. Today we say that life will continue here in Fort Saint-Jacques despite all the odds. Just as we give thanks today, and we did on the last occasion, let us in a special way remember the devastation that occurred on October 31st, 2010. We remember the loss that befell Fort Saint-Jacques, the loss of life all over our island, but particularly in Soufrière. I know this is not easy for you because you probably knew some of these individuals personally as friends and as family. And so, before we celebrate the future, let us remember the past. Those who are not here to celebrate with us. I think it more than appropriate that we honor again these St. Lucians who perished at the hands of Thomas. May I invite you once again, all of you, to contemplate in silence, just perhaps for a minute, on this day, for those whom we have lost. And once again, I ask you to stand to do so. I thank you. Thank you very much. I salute the people of Fort Saint-Jacques for their courage, will, and determination. Today, this new residential subdivision at Mocha confirms the resilience of the people of Fort Saint-Jacques. I am sure these 27 new homes must be the envy of many in the community. I know, too, that they do not represent the total extent of those in need. Today is a culmination of a number of efforts and hard work so that this community can now look to the future with confidence. It is a day, as all of us have said, of Thanksgiving. As you would have already been told, this project was conceived in collaboration with the National Reconstruction and Development Unit, which was established under the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, headed by Mrs. Elizabeth Charles Summer. It is thus a joint venture between the Government of St. Lucia and the Pinnacle Trust. To date, the Government of St. Lucia has contributed EC $3.4 million towards this project. Mrs. Charles Summer knows Fort Saint-Jacques very well. She grew up here when her father, the late Gabriel Coco Charles, was based here, up in the rainforest past Migny, working to protect St. Lucia's special and endangered flora and fauna, particularly from deforestation. And so she brought a special passion, commitment, and perspective for this project and for the people of Fort Saint-Jacques. I know it was very close to her heart and it meant a lot. This is quite often something not seen in many projects, and so today let us put on record our collective thanks to Mrs. Charles Summer and the team at the National Reconstruction and Development Unit. We must also express special and immense thanks to the Pinnacle Trust and Mr. James Wadham for their generosity and commitment to this project since its inception. I'm going to charge Mr. Anthony Bristol to translate and to convey my words and my thanks to Mr. Wadham. We both have known him for a very long time at the very early conception of the financial services sector here in St. Lucia. People like Mr. Wadham continue to astonish me. I do not know how to explain such individuals because they are so rare, so unusual, and so untypical. Here is someone who fell in love with this country, has given freely of his time, wealth, to the people of St. Lucia without asking for nothing in return. no recognition, no honor, nothing. He has asked for nothing in return. Individuals like that, we must treasure them, and we collectively must be in a position to say thank you, and also to say to him that St. Lucia will always be a home for him if he so chooses at any time. I am advised, as you heard today, that the Pinnacle Trust has given an undertaking to upgrade the old community center at Font-Saint-Jacques to serve the dual purpose of a human resource center and emergency shelter. For this, we must again say thank you to the Pinnacle Trust. Of course, the government of St. Lucia provided extensive support for the project through the provision of the land, subdivision and building design services, surveying and oversight services, and the installation of some of the infrastructure. Today, we are symbolically handing over to you, the residents, the keys to your own homes. However, as is very evident, most of these homes are already occupied because of the urgent and long-standing need. I know that some of you are already extending the starter homes that have been provided. I welcome this. It was expected. It was designed to facilitate expansion. These homes were largely designed with enough space so that you might expand in time. However, you must ensure that in expanding, this is done in consultation with the Development Control Authority and the building officer responsible for this area. Do not be afraid of them. Don't fear them. They're there to help you, to work with you, and to give you advice. There is every reason why you should consult them, because you live in a very delicate and very special area. This must be a model community. And that has been one of the messages, whether it is from Mr. Bristol or your parliamentary representative. It is also a message from me. You must show the rest of Soufrière what is possible in Font-Saint-Jacques. This has to be a new beginning. However, for this to be a reality, there must be community cohesion, community cooperation, community participation. This can only come with mutual respect for your neighbors and observance of the rules that have been set down in your agreements. Don't take those agreements lightly. Study it, and if at any time you need explanations for those agreements, then ask us at the ministry to come and talk to you about them. This community is provided with open space, which you must develop as a place for your children to play. To ensure a safe living environment, please do not use the open space within the development for farming. Leave the farming for elsewhere. Make use of the open space so that you can truly enjoy this remarkable ambience that you have. Some of the reserve lands are strictly for the protection of the health and environment of the community, especially around the sewage infrastructure and in the area uphill from here. For you, the families who have benefited from the project, I sincerely hope that you take full advantage of this opportunity to owning your own home. You now have secure tenure. Use this as a platform to improve the quality of your life and that of your children. Take care of your homes and surroundings in a responsible manner. I can see that already a number of you are doing so by using the stones found on your property and elsewhere in developing distinct verges and property walls. Develop Mocha as a community of character, diversity, richness, and peace. If you want to maintain the character and value of your community, you will have to be discriminating as to what you allow and not allow here. This is a residential community. So while you may wish to allow some limited commercial activity, you must desist from things that create dust or noise or pollution and affect the rest of the community. You are blessed, despite all the challenges, to live in such a beautiful area of this country. You must desist from unsightly activities that take away from the beauty of the community. As we look to the future, it is clear that the first steps have been taken and you are well on your way. However, the journey is not over, There are many more steps to be taken. Your mortgages must be paid for you to gain full title. And that is important, because when you have full title, then there's so much that you can do with your property. You must maintain your community and your property so that it increases in value, not decreases. You must remember that Font-Saint-Jacques needs to remain beautiful. It takes you to protect it. Guard it jealously. This program of resettlement for the people affected by Hurricane Thomas will continue with a smaller project funded by the European Union in the coming months. Even in these challenging financial and economic times, this government has continued to show its commitment, like its predecessor, the government, to the people of Font-Saint-Jacques and the restoration of this beautiful valley and its economic potential. You can see that the multipurpose court, which was promised, has been completed, and it is time, Mr. Parliamentary Representative, to ensure that it is used by the youth of the community to their benefit. The Mocha Bridge, which you would have crossed to reach this community, has been completed, and it is indeed a fine and beautiful structure. The Crestlands Bridge section has been completed. The Rainforest Foods Enterprise, which adds value to your local produce with its breakfast cereals, is to receive additional support through the Caribbean Local Economic Development CARILED program. This will help in increased production and diversity in its products. It is clear from the drive-up that much more must be done if we are to make Font-Saint-Jacques attractive. For instance, the road surface requires further rehabilitation. Furthermore, I know the desire of the Member of Parliament to see the reinstatement of the road connecting Diamond to Esperance and Font-Saint-Jacques, and I know that very shortly you will be commencing some work in that area. I wish we could provide all these things all at once, but we know that we are a country of limited means and many needs, and so I beg patience and understanding, especially at this time, as government tries to create the space within its finances to be able to achieve more in communities such as yours. Font-Saint-Jacques is a gateway to St. Lucia's rainforests and biodiversity. I come back to that theme. Its famous Jaco. How many visitors staying in Soufrière, landing at the jetty, or coming by road have been enticed to explore this rainforest and all its beauty? Font-Saint-Jacques can be a magnet for ecotourism, but it calls for your support in making your community clean, green, and serene. There are many opportunities that must and will be explored to resuscitate this long association with the forest and with the land. For instance, Mocha, as the name suggests, was once a coffee estate, as with many of the estates in Font-Saint-Jacques. This year, I announced in the budget that I wish to take some small steps to rediscover the tradition of coffee production in our country. I believe we can develop a unique niche product if we market and differentiate our product as a high-quality bean that is produced in an ethical and environmentally friendly manner. It will take time to grow, but many great trees start with the smallest of seeds. Soufrière has long been the agricultural nexus for St. Lucia, for coffee, then sugar, then cocoa and coconuts. Each of these can be explored in new ways by marrying the fruit of the land to tourism and industry. Hotel Chocolat is a great example of this product at work using the cocoa seed. With a name like Mocha and with Font-Saint-Jacques' long association with coffee, perhaps you can begin to give life to this idea with the support of the government of St. Lucia. You already have the name brand, Mocha. It is for you to add the value and the unique experience. Ladies and gentlemen, there were many who thought after Thomas that there was no hope for places such as Font-Saint-Jacques, that everyone should be relocated and the entire valley abandoned. Today we say that there is hope. We can see the hope in this beautiful community and the children who will grow up here and play here and learn here. We see a valley that is alive and reborn with hope and opportunity. There is no doubt that there exists a great risk living below these tall mountains. It takes a resilient, reticent people to do so. It also takes great care and responsibility to live here, because if you're not responsible for your environment, it can easily change for the worse. And this must always remain one of the powerful lessons of Hurricane Thomas and the Christmas Eve trough. We can live far more comfortably, far more secure if we protect our surroundings and what we are inherited. The patrimony that we have given to us by the Almighty is a patrimony we must jealously protect and jealously look after. In the coming years, more assistance will come through the Disaster and Vulnerability Risk Reduction Program, being funded by the World Bank. I hope that the communities most greatly at risk, the interior communities of Bexar and Fossachak, will benefit from interventions that reduce the risk to their residents. So as far as your community is concerned, you will continue to be a beneficiary of help and assistance to make the adjustments in this time. But today, we just say thank you. To the contractors and laborers on this project, we say thank you. To the professionals who worked hard to see this realized, we say thank you. We say thank you to James Wadham, to the Pinnacle Trust, for their generosity and kindness. It shall never be forgotten. To partners like the Fossachak Cooperative Credit Society, the Soufrière Development Foundation, the Fossachak Development Committee, to our insurers and many others, we just want to say thank you to all of you. To the new air residents who have exercised patience, we say thank you too. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you and may God bless Mocha and all the people of Fossachak. Thank you and do have a blessed and wonderful day.
On behalf of the residents of the Mocha housing scheme located in the quarter of Fossachak, I would like to express my utmost gratitude to the sponsors of this project which made it possible. Heartfelt thanks to the government of St. Lucia, the Pinnacle Trust, and the National Reconstruction and Development Unit within the Ministry of Finance. A big thank you to the Fossachak Credit Union and the parliamentary representative for Soufrière and Fossachak, Mr. Harold Dalsa. This project has impacted our lives immensely and that of our children. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my thanks to the organizers of this ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed up by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues who know their job and are results-oriented. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. Once again, I want to say that we are grateful to everyone who made this project a success. We thank you for being with us today. It's been a great pleasure. I thank you.
I declare Mocha open officially as of now.
All right.